Being a software engineer is highly rewarding. A feeling of creating solutions and solving problems can be fulfilling. Not to mention the high salaries of software engineers, with an average of $120,000 in the United States as of 2022. While all these sound amazing, there are times when you feel so burnt out, not from physical work, but from mental work. Staring at computer screen for hours without any human interactions, or having to fix that bug before the deadline, or having to learn a technology fast in a fast-paced company where delivery and deployments happens every 2 weeks. Yeah, it can get really crazy being a software engineer, especially at the beginning of your career. If you feel burnt out or depressed, well, it turns out you are not the only one. The International Journal of Social Sciences reports that compared to other professions, software developers had greater rates of anxiety and depression. Should that really surprise you so much? Two of the main risk factors for depression are screen time and social isolation. Naturally, a job that requires long hours spent alone in front of a computer would increase the likelihood of burnout and poor mental health. As you already know, software engineers spend most of their work time in front of a computer screen. Here are main ways to have work-life balance as a software engineer. Number 1. Set aside some time to avoid the computer screens. Unfortunately, it's not always simple to cut back on screen time in this industry. To complete a task, you may need to spend more than 8 hours at the computer. But when you start to stare at a screen nonstop during your free time, that's when things can really start to go wrong. It's all too simple to get into the routine of spending the entire day at work seated in front of a computer before immediately turning to Netflix to unwind. Before you realize it, you've been focusing on a screen for 16 non-stop hours. I make an effort to avoid screens for at least an hour right after work. This includes going for a walk outside or hanging out with friends during the summer. During the winter, I usually spend that time reading or at the gym. Additionally, I believe it's crucial to vary how much time I spend on screens each day. According to studies, gazing at a computer for extended periods of time can be bad for your eyes. However, it has been demonstrated that the 20-20-20 rule can effectively counteract these negative consequences. In other words, spend at least 20 seconds every 20 minutes looking at something that is 20 feet away. Additionally, avoiding the habit of glancing at my phone during lunch and taking 15 to 20-minute walks on days when things are less hectic have helped me limit my screen time. Number 2. Interact with others often. There is a rationale to the cliché of the reserved software engineer. Our job doesn't necessarily require interacting with others, and it's possible to go days without having to speak to anyone. Having scheduled lunch with colleagues in which we put down our phones and discuss topics unrelated to work, or participating in cooperative open source projects, such as CSS frameworks, here is a fantastic collection of open source CNCF projects. The office began to feel like a place I could go and meet friends every day after I started being conscious about my level of engagement at work. Funny enough, I discovered that in this setting I was even more productive than before. Number 3. Try a flexible work schedule. Constantly working in one location or office can be boring and in long run reduce productivity. Sometimes work from home and sometimes work at the office. This arrangement can really help with balancing work environment with productivity. Working 100% at home can also be boring too, as you may want to see faces and interact with people face to face, not through Zoom or Teams meeting always. So a model of working 3 days in the office and 2 days from home might help balance things out. Final thoughts. Being a software developer means having days where all you do is staring at a screen. But that does not imply that we must accept the implications for our mental health. Even if it's simple to get into the patterns that lead to burnout, we can overcome them with the appropriate approach. I've been able to remain as content as ever working in the area I love because to factors like having a flexible work schedule, prioritizing screen breaks, clear planning, and hanging out with friends. Please subscribe to this channel, like, comment and share. Thank you and see you again soon.